All right. Last night I was walking with my son, and he was kind of complaining. Well, sort of bragging, complaining about how his back was hurting him because he had helped his friend lift some heavy thing that his friend couldn't lift, and he could. And it reminded me of a story that the first time I had actually got a chance to save somebody's life. Now, as a physician, you get in a position where that happens from time to time, and certainly in my years as a physician, there have been times where I've coded people. There are surgeries I've done that which were largely life-saving. That certainly happened over the years. But a few times, including last year, in fact, I ended up doing CPR on a guy that collapsed at our house and basically was able to sustain him until the paramedics got there and he was able to survive that. But the first time this happened, this is when I was a 19-year-old kid. And I was telling my son the value of being stronger. Why would it be helpful? Well, the story I told him was that when I was working in between college and my summer vacation, I used to work. One of the jobs I had was delivering furniture. I was a big kind of a, big guy, and that was a perfect job for me, right? And at that time, I'd already started weight training. I was pretty strong. I was deadlifting maybe back then, 500 plus pounds, something like that. So at least a reasonable amount of strength. And one day, we were working, kind of bringing furniture in from the truck into the furniture store back at the main warehouse. And next door, across the parking lot, was another business. I can't remember what they did, but there's a guy that was driving a forklift just like a maniac. I mean, he was whipping in and out super fast. And what had happened was he drove and turned a corner too fast and it flipped over. And anyway, he got thrown out partially and the forklift fell and kind of pinned him. And like the top of the forklift was right across his jaw and neck. And so I, of course, ran over there and his teeth, some of his teeth were knocked out. He was kind of gurgling. You could tell he was choking to death. And forklifts are very heavy. It's thousands and thousands of pounds. Now, I couldn't lift the forklift, but what I could do is I grabbed it and I was able to pull it up just about an inch to take it off the pressure off of his neck so he could breathe. And while I was holding that, I sat there holding that for, it seemed like forever, but it's probably more like 2 minutes. While they got another forklift in there and they were able to lift it up. Now he was brought away. I remember we went to John Seeley Hospital in Galveston, Texas at the time, where I later trained as an orthopedic surgeon. But I remember maybe 6 months later, the guy came back to me, after he'd had surgery, and you could tell he'd had, his face was a little altered because it pretty much messed him up pretty bad. But he thanked me for saving his life. And so the only reason I was able to do that because I was strong enough to lift that thing off. And had I not been able to do that, it's unclear if he would have survived that because he was, clearly being compromised. So the lesson is, there's a value of strength training, even if it's, not, even if it's just to do something like that you're able to have the ability to, do things when you need to. And, hopefully most of us will not ever have to run into those situations, but just so happened that I've had that happen to me in that way, back then and then later doing CPR, which is also a useful skill, by the way. Everybody should learn CPR. Anyway, so this is the second day up here in Whistler. It's snowing out today. The family's up skiing again. I'm gonna again stick around. I got some work to do, so I'll be doing that. Plus, I'm training for trying to break these world records. So I want to make sure I focus on that. So you do sacrifice, for doing these things. You got to sometimes sacrifice some of the social and the play stuff to get the job done. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Have you guys anybody ever had to do CPR, save somebody's life? Let me know in the comments. It'll be interesting to see. And has anybody ever used strength to help them out of a situation where if they weren't strong enough, you would have been kind of screwed. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye-bye.